Okay, so for our Unit 2 study guide, so we're going to start off with two-step and multi-step equations for the first page. As I've always said, line of great divide just to help us keep organized. So this is where our x is, so box in our x. So we have a big mess. We need to get that 5 off the bottom. That's 2x minus 1 divided by 5. And the inverse operation of division is multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 5 to get the 5 out of the denominator spot. And that's going to leave us with these 5's crossing out. And we have 2x minus 1 equals a negative 3 times 5, which is going to be a negative 15, because a negative times a positive is a negative. Now, again, keeping up with our x and staying on each side, the negative 1 is over there with x and needs to move to get 2x by itself. So we're going to add 1, and that's because that is the inverse of that negative, or minus 1. So 2x equals, and I add 1, which means I owed you $15 and I paid you 1. It means I owe you 14. X is still not by itself. So now we're going to divide by 2, and then x is going to give us a negative 7, because a negative divided by a positive is going to give us a negative. Answer to number 1. All right, so sliding down, number 2, we're going to make our great divide. These guys are a little crunchy and close together, sorry. So we're looking for a, we're going to solve for a. Now, this time that 2 is not within our red box, so we're going to move him first. And it's a negative 2, and to undo a negative, we're going to add. So add 2 to both sides. If I owed you 4 with that negative 4, and then I add 2, that means I still owe you 2, equals a over 8. Now, I need a by itself, and a over 8 is the same as a divided by 8, as the problem before. And that means the inverse of division is multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 8, because whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. That's going to leave me a negative 16 equals, our 8's go away, a. And at that point, a is by itself, and so our answer should be a negative 16. So jumping around, sorry, I didn't realize I misnumbered. So number 3, we're going to run up to number 3 first. I added number 5 last minute. So great divide. Our x. So again, on that side, outside of the red box is that minus 6. We're going to add 6 to both sides because it's a negative 6, or subtraction of 6 going on over there, to work on getting that 2x by itself. Again, you're moving things away from where your x is. And I've said it a lot, but that box is really helpful in getting you started if you have trouble trying to figure out where to go or where to start. So 13 plus 6 is going to equal 9. So 2x is not by itself. That's 2 times x, and the inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. So x equals, 19 is not going to give me a whole number, and it's going 9.5, because 9 times 9 is 18. And then if I have the 1 left over, it's going to be 5. So 9 times 2 is 18. 1 left over to give me that 19, and that's where that 0.5 comes from. Or if you plugged it into the calculator, that's perfect too for this guy. I do challenge you to try to do these without a calculator, and then obviously come back and check them if you can, because you are going to have a calculator inactive portion of your EOC. All right, so 2 over 13x equals 6. Now, you could do this a couple different ways. If you want to stick to our one step at a time, we need 13 out of the denominator, so we're going to multiply both sides by 13. Multiply both sides by 13. 13's go away. We end up with 2x equals 6 times 13. Sorry, I need my calculator. 78. And then x is not by itself still, so we're going to divide by 2. And we should get 39. Yep. So x equals 39. Now, that is perfectly fine, and that is awesome, using all of the skills that you should have already had. Now, you could do it a different way, since it is a fraction in front of your x, and multiply by the reciprocal. So that means that 12 divided by 13x equals 6. The reciprocal, so that's a flip. So 13 over 12, multiply by 13 over 12. And anytime you multiply fractions, you're just going to work straight across. So this is going to cross each other out. Oops, sorry, it's a 12, not a 2. Cross each other out. So I have x equals, and 6 times 13 is 78. Oh, I rewrote this problem wrong. I'm sorry, guys. That is a 2. I was right the first time and magically made this up over here. Sorry. 2. It was 2 over 13, not 12. And then that one was a 2. All right. Now we're racking and rolling. So 6 times 13 is 78, and then 1 times 2 is 2. So you end up in the same place. It's just you're doing it in one step. Either way is perfectly fine, though. Whatever works for you, depending on who you've had teach you this before, you're going to already have been doing one of them, probably. I like the first one the best because that in my brain seems to match, and I'm using the same skills over. But both are mathematically sound and completely allowed. All right, so number 5. That minus we're going to put in the box with that 5x because that's a negative 5x. Now, outside of that 5x, we do have a 3 that is attached in that equation by that minus. So it's an addition, subtraction sort of presence on that side. So since it's a positive 3, we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. So negative 5x equals, if I have $2 and I spend 3, then that means I owe you 1. Now be careful because a lot of people have lost that negative right there. But we need to get that negative 5 off the x, and that's negative 5 times x. And the inverse of multiplication is division. And if we divide negative 1 by 5, we'll get a decimal. But if it's a calculator inactive, you just need to know that a negative and a negative make a positive. And so that, my friends, are your first 5 problems from your study guide for Unit 2. All right, see you next video.